Kenseth. Cleared by Logano, maybe no! Kenseth takes him out! Logano into the wall! Caution comes out and the crowd roars!
Matt Kenseth wrecking Joey Logano in Martinsville was quite honestly the most iconic thing that happened in the 2015 season. Not only giving birth to the famous words Kenseth takes him out, but also being the most iconic thing that happened between Joey and Matt's rivalry throughout the season. A rivalry where Joey intentionally spun out Matt for the win at Kansas with just 5 to go, while both of them were competing for the championship that season. And during this time, Joey looked more like a stock car version of Max Verstappen, winning many races in a row like it doesn't matter. And to rub the salt in the wound for Kenseth, he was eliminated in the playoffs in the second round after being involved in a wreck in Talladega. As for Logano, he completely swept the second round of the playoffs and won his 3rd race in a row. So clearly Matt taking his revenge on Joey Logano was completely justified, as well as telling Joey, if I'm not going to win this championship, then neither are you. And this move would be one of the greatest payback stories in NASCAR's history. But back in 2008 in ARCA, there was something just like that, where 2 drivers were in contention for the championship that season. But one move by one of the championship contenders would give us one of the greatest paybacks in ARCA series history. This is the story of Scott Speed takes out Stenhouse.
Last week in Talladega, we were treated to one of the most exciting races of the year. And anything that could go wrong for the top 2 point contenders,
99 of Ricky Stenhouse up in the air,
did.
It's Scott Speed, your point leader. With problems, this changes everything now. Absolutely changes everything.
With his dramatic 5th win of the season.
Oh, what a move.
Justin Allgaier closed the gap on point leader Scott Speed. And rookie phenom Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is knocking on the door in the 2nd spot. Will one of these young guns become the first champion since 1999? Or will Frank Kimmel pull off a miracle in Ohio? And it all ends here.
For the final race of the 2008 ARCA RE Series Championship, the race would take place at Toledo Speedway, a track that really reminds me of Bristol, as well as Martinsville. And heading into the final race, there were 4 drivers contending for the championship. The ARCA King Frank Kimmel, open wheel invader Scott Speed, rookie phenom Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and future Xfinity Series star Justin Allgaier. But since we're talking about Scott Speed and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., how's their seasons been going so far? After not finding much success in Formula 1, Scott Speed decided to turn his attention to stock car racing. Before heading into the final race of the season, Speed had accumulated 4 wins up to that point, as he sits first in the standings. As for Stenhouse, after finding success in sprint car racing, Red Funway Racing would ultimately pick him up to race in the 2008 ARCA season. Where in his only ARCA season, he would score 2 wins and sits second in the points behind Speed, heading into the final race of the season. Remember how I said Toledo Speedway reminds me a lot of Bristol and Martinsville? Well, not only is it very small, but it's incredibly difficult to pass, which causes drivers to use the bump and run just to make a pass on this short track. So that meant Speed and Stenhouse would have to make sure they wouldn't have any trouble on the track in order for one of them to win the championship. But as the saying goes, in racing, anything can happen. Race day. Scott Speed sits 90 points ahead of Stenhouse in the championship heading into the final race. Justin Lofton in the 20 car would win the pole for the race, and Scott Speed and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. would start side by side in row number 2. And as the green flag dropped, the final race of the season was underway. As the cars enter turn 1, Scott Speed takes the advantage and takes third away from Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Despite Stenhouse trying to use the undercut coming out of turn 2, Speed would stay in 3rd place. On lap 6 of the race, 4 cars would ultimately make contact with each other and cause a big wreck in turn 4. After the wreck, the race restarts on lap number 11, where the car was running second ultimately at a pit and Speed ultimately takes second and Stenhouse takes third. However, it wouldn't take long for another caution to come out, this time for Dexter Bean, who spun out in turn 2. It should also be noted that before the caution, Stenhouse was ultimately being very aggressive on Speed coming into turn 3. On lap 17, the race got back underway with Speed and Stenhouse still in the positions that they were, Speed in second and Stenhouse in third. Speaking about Stenhouse, ARCA would actually give Stenhouse a warning for the aggressive driving that he was doing on Speed. On lap 21, another caution would come out, this time for Allie Owens in turns 3 and 4, as she ultimately hit the wall. On lap 25, the race restarted, still with Speed in second and Stenhouse in third. And knowing that his championship was on the line, Stenhouse was going to do everything in his power to get Speed out of the way, even though it would cost him a penalty. And on lap 27, it would happen.
They are so concerned about how aggressive Stenhouse is behind him. Speed has actually talked on the radio about letting the 99 go around, and they make contact. Speed into the wall.
Speed into the wall hard, and that happened because Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was into the back of him. Let's see if he's able to continue on.
And just like that, Scott Speed's title hopes were over, with the back of his car completely destroyed. All because one driver didn't want to make a legitimate pass on him and decided to put him in the wall instead, taking him out of contention. However, instead of going into the pits and retiring the car, he decided to stay on the track, either to just log laps or do something else completely entirely. On lap 34, the race would restart, this time with Stenhouse in the lead of the championship, after his reckless move on Scott Speed. Heading into lap 37, the leaders were already passing the damaged car of Scott Speed. But when Stenhouse went by... When we talk about paybacks, there's usually two types of paybacks that we see. A normal payback where we see somebody get payback on somebody that did them dirty, and deliberate paybacks that are unjustifiable. But when Matt Kenseth got back at Joey Logano, it showed us a new type of payback, where veterans would show it to younger drivers. And that payback is learning respect.
Problem. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. around, and oh, by the way, that was the 2. Yeah, well, there was no question there. That was a little bit of payback.
Hey, he started it. He ain't going to win the championship with that attitude. I mean, that was ridiculous. That was the most blatant thing I ever saw in my life, and honestly, I mean, it's just ARCA. That's how it is.
And with that, that is the story of Scott Speed takes out Stenhouse, where one driver got too aggressive and decided to wreck somebody else in order to win the championship, which would lead to that driver wrecking them so that way they didn't win the championship either. As for the driver that won the championship after Scott Speed and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. were out of contention, it would fall into the hands of the 16 car of Justin Allgaier, who would win the championship that year, with it being his only ARCA Series championship of his career. But what were Stenhouse's and Speed's careers after this race? Stenhouse would move up to the Nationwide Series, where he would win back-to-back championships in 2011 and 2012. And in 2023, he would win the biggest crown jewel of his career, winning the Daytona 500. As for Speed, while he never found much success in NASCAR that Stenhouse did, he would, however, find more success in other types of motorsports, most notably in Nitro Rallycross. As for Allgaier, he would do the same thing as Stenhouse and move up to the Nationwide Series, where he still competes today, competing for wins and championships. And so far this season, he's surely looking like a championship contender. But that's where we're going to end it off. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you can be notified for every new video that I post. And again, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!